Good morning, dear students. I, Professor Basuraj Kovachi, welcome you all for today's lecture of Elements of Cost and Market Analysis, Module number 2, Video number 26. In previous class, we have studied the various concepts related to demand. In this concepts, we saw the meaning of demand, the various types of demand, the elasticity of demand. After that, various types of elasticity of demand, that is less elastic, inelastic, more elastic, unitary elastic. And after that, the three basic things of elasticity of demand, that is price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand. After that, we also solved some problems on income elasticity of demand and price elasticity of demand. These problems may appear or come for your examination under section 2 for 5 marks. After that, the next most important concept of economics is utility. Many times we use this word utility. It is having various different meanings, but here, with the context of economics, we need to study this concept. Utility means usefulness. We use this word in our day-to-day life, but here we have to study this with a view of economics. Therefore, while studying this word, we should consider the various meanings given by the various authors and definitions of utility. Let us begin with the concept utility. Here, utility is a term in economics that refers to the total satisfaction received from consuming a good or service. In simple terms, here utility means the satisfaction what we get after using a product or service. For example, if I am thirsty and I am drinking a glass of juice, so how much satisfaction I have got from that glass of juice is utility. The another meaning of utility here is the utility definition in economics is derived from the concept of usefulness. An economic good yields utility to the extent to which its usefulness for satisfying a consumer's want or need. So here it is the usefulness of a product. How much this product is useful, or the usefulness of one goods or service is measured, and this usefulness is known as utility. In simple, want satisfying capacity of goods or services is called utility. If a question comes for 2 marks, you can write as want satisfying capacity or power of goods or services is called utility. Many times, this question has appeared in your question paper for 2 marks. What do you mean by utility? At that point of time, you can write want satisfying capacity of goods or services is called as utility. Let us move forward and see some of the definitions given by the economists on utility. Here, according to Professor Walk, utility is the power of commodity to satisfy human wants. Here, Professor Walk is trying to tell us that utility is nothing but it is the power of commodity to satisfy the human want. The same previous example we can see. Now I am thirsty and my want is some liquid drink which will satisfy my thirst. So at that point of time, I have received or I have got one glass of juice and the power of that one glass juice to satisfy my want of thirst is known as utility. So here, according to Professor Waugh, utility is the power of commodity to satisfy human wants. The next definition given by Fraser, he is saying that on the whole, in recent years, the wider definition is preferred and utility is defined with the desiredness rather than with satisfyingness. Here, he is given a link between desiredness rather than satisfyingness. Here, the desire of the person and satisfyingness both are linked is what Fraser says. So, these are some of the definitions about utility. The simplest one you can write that utility is the want satisfying power of a commodity is known as utility. Or utility is the power of commodity to satisfy human wants. So this is any of these definitions you can write for 2 marks. After that, we need to see the characteristics of utility. Here, there are many characteristics, but here we have taken only 4 characteristics which are more important to be discussed on utility. The first characteristic of utility is psychological. Now, it depends on the mental attitude and assessment of the person consuming the commodity and also his likes and dislikes. So it is a mental attitude which a person who is using that product or consuming that product, how much he likes that product and his dislikes. For example, I am hungry and I like, say, pizza. But someone gave me burger. So the satisfaction level, what I am getting from the burger may be less. But the same way, if I would have got a pizza, I would have, say, got more satisfaction. Because my like is pizza. So here, this utility is an psychological phenomena. An individual may be liking some product or he may dislike some products. So it is a psychological phenomena of an individual. So it depends upon the mental attitude and assessment of the person consuming the commodity and also his likes and dislikes. The next second characteristic of utility is individual and relative. It differs from person to person, place to place and time to time. What utility I am getting from one commodity may be different from somebody else. For example, the food, what we eat, somebody may like that kind of food or may not like that kind of food. For example, I may like chapati, some other person may like roti. So here the utility out of roti for me is less, whereas if I get chapati, I will get more utility. So likewise, utility is dependent on individual. It differs from person to person, it differs from place to place and time to time. During winter, I may get more utility from jacket or sweater. But the same jacket or sweater may not give me utility during summer season. Okay, in winter I may get more utility out of that, but in summer season I may not get utility out of that. So here the utility is individual and it is relative. It differs from person to person, place to place and time to time. The next is utility cannot be measured objectively. It is a feeling and thus cannot be measured in numerical terms. Suppose a person is very hungry and I am giving him food. He is hungry from past 4-5 days and he has not got anything to eat. and if I am giving him food, the utility what he is getting, the satisfaction what he is getting cannot be measured in terms of numericals, because it is the inner feeling, and to calculate inner feelings there is no such instrument. So here utility cannot be measured objectively, it is inner feeling. The next fourth characteristic of utility is utility has no moral significance. It satisfies any want, moral, immoral, right or wrong. Utility doesn't consider moral significance, because while studying, the person who is drinking wine may also be considered to study the utility. The person who is smoking may also be considered for utility. But in society, these things may be treated as immoral. But here, utility has no moral significance. It has only to study the concept and the calculation of utility. So these are the features or characteristics of utility. The next concept, that is types of utility and law of diminishing marginal utility, we shall see in next class. So thank you, good day.